If you've been annoyed at the short interest rate that's being pitched by institutions like, for example, Ortex, and you're saying, hey, these numbers, they just don't add up, it doesn't make sense, and you feel that the regular retail investors, us in the ape community, are doing a better job at actually investigating and pulling these kinds of numbers, well, guess what? We got some news coming for you. There might actually be a new platform right around the corner that is being created by people inside of this community. Before we get further into that, though, I do want to go ahead and say a special shout out thank you to my Patreon supporters. I really do appreciate it, guys. And a double shout out to RemAG for being a higher tiered level supporter. If you guys want to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description. So also, I want to start by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Everything I'm sharing is my own opinions, my own research, and I encourage you guys to go do your own research as usual. Looking at the price action for AMC, it's down 4.01% on the day. In the aftermarket, as of the time I'm making this video, it's at $38.91. Volume still quite low. By comparison, you just zoom out here, you can see that there's a lot of these very low periods, and it's pretty crazy to see that 4% drop down, especially when we've been consistently seeing over 60% of trades taking place through the dark pool every single day. Again, wrap your brain around that. More than 50% every single day. So if 60 at least percent, you're starting to lean a little bit more towards the higher end, is all being taken place off of the market, off of the lit market onto the dark pools, then these huge percentage drops, who do you think's largely having an impact in making that sort of movement take place? Is it the regular retail investors? Well, with 33.46 million shares traded on the day, more than likely not, right? It's pretty safe to assume that. So other things we want to take a look into consideration is the amount of option contracts that we have going on right now. This is absolutely crazy. It feels like they're trying to squeeze, and not like a short squeeze phrase, they're just trying to squeeze as much money out of the retail investors as they possibly can. I mean, just look at this. Right now, it's below the $40 strike price. It's at $39, meaning that if they can actually get it to stay below even $39, so right now it's at $38.91. So technically it is down below that. That means that all of these option contracts going up are the only ones that would be in the money. And there's almost nothing. I mean, if they get it even below $38 for closing next week, then every single option contract working through every one of these dollar amounts would be less than 1,000, right? I don't even think there's potentially 1,000 here if you add up all of these together, right? It's just ridiculous how far they are really trying to push this. So you got 1.2 million shares available to borrow. That's pretty consistent with what we saw yesterday. 5.26 million ETF shares available to borrow. The fee is 0.7%. 1 point earlier today, it was at 0.6. So that fee to borrow is very, very low. There's basically no problem with them saying, hey, you want to borrow shares? Sure, go ahead. Where are these shares that they're borrowing from? I mean, all the data, again, just largely suggests that there are no shares available to borrow, but somehow they're borrowing them, right? So you got over 250,000 excuse me. You have over 250,000 shares that are currently out of the money. Only 11,000 that are currently in the money. This is pathetic. I keep talking about options contracts, how dangerous they are. People want to keep doing them. They don't want to listen. And look at what's happening. Dark pool data, 26.6 million shares currently existing. $1 billion plus taking place over through the dark pool. Okay, so in regards to that other platform, check this out. Posted by User of Intellect over on Twitter. Initially said, a group of your trusted community activists are finalizing a game-changer technology to log the float for GME and AMC to expose the number of synthetic shares. It will have 3 categories: institutions/funds, DRS, and non-DRS shares for GME and AMC. We killed the prisoner's dilemma game. And then followed up by saying short interest data is based on a self-reported honor system. We all know Ortex data is manufactured and fake. We are launching a self-reported system of logging the number of shares for AMC and GME internationally in November. Do you see a problem with that? Justice for AMC/GME soon. And then moving on. And by the way, I think that sounds awesome. If they roll that through, I think it's going to be great. So as far as for the short interest rate of what Ortex is being displayed, It's at 16.62%, according to the post here from the individual there. So yeah, it was over 20% like a week ago. Okay, so the fact that it's dropped down so much, it just doesn't make sense. The price should have been pushing up quite a bit because people have to cover their positions. If people have just been sitting for a very, very long time on borrowed shares, how are they getting away with that? Why can they get away with that? How does that not manipulate the stock on the market, right? Like, imagine if I did that with Bitcoin. Hey, I'm just going to borrow. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to borrow 17 million Bitcoin. And, obviously there would be nothing available for people to buy. And so the price would shoot up a ton. And if I'm like, oh, cool, I'm selling some of the stuff that I have. Maybe now because I borrowed it, I can go ahead and sell it because I decided to borrow it early. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. The whole idea of borrowing without having to actually execute on doing something with it is just bizarre. Then over here in the dark pool, it's showing on this report 62.71% for the day. People keep making reference points about 75%, but in the screenshot here, we're seeing 62.71. As far as the New York Stock Exchange, though, 4.12%. Think about that. Less than 5% of every single trade in the United States is actually going through the New York Stock Exchange. It's just bizarre. The other thing here is that I'm going to include a link once again to the change.org for the petition banning payment for order flow and suspending dark pool activity. Okay? It has 38,825 signatures so far. I have signed this. I saw that some people that clicked through the link that I shared on social media yesterday, they went through and they signed it as well. And it is pushing towards 50,000. If this is something that you guys support, go cast your voice. I mean, if this thing smashes through these numbers, it's probably going to get a lot of media attention outside of change.org. As it is already, it's pushing towards the top of the list of one of the most highly signed petitions ever on change.org. So very, very interesting to see that be moving forward. And that's going to go ahead and be it for this video. Just keep an eye on a support line still at $35.54. Still seeing that level of rejection at $44.37. Really would love to see it close above $40 here at the very least on the weekly. But, I mean, are we frankly surprised by the level of manipulation they keep doing with these things? I got referral links in the description if you want to get free cryptocurrency or free stock. This is not financial advice, but guys, it's free money. Feel free to take a look at it. If you're new, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up like button. It does help us out with the YouTube search algorithm. Click the bell icon because I do go live sometimes, and I will see you in the next episode.